Steam early access games can be a mixed bag, but they are generally a great way to support developers to help shape the future of a game. Unfortunately, I think I may have found one of the worst early access titles ever. My name is Graeldon, and I'm reviewing Steam games in alphabetical order to find the hidden gems among the piles of garbage, and today's game is 001 Earth. Let's begin. We've only reviewed one early access game before on the channel, and that was Ski Jump, a VR game about skiing and jumping. Yeah, the name was pretty on the nose. Anyway, when reviewing early access titles like Ski Jump, my approach is to be more lenient with my critique as there are often a number of features still being worked on or not even added yet. So it's more about the premise and assessing what is on offer for the currently listed price and looking ahead at where the game is going. Now that we've discussed all that, please toss it out the window, because 001 Earth is making me reconsider covering early access titles at all. Now, before we dive into things, it has to be said that nobody, and I mean nobody, should be going out on a witch hunt to harass developers. There are plenty of more egregious cash grab early access titles out there, and I would prefer this to be a lesson on how not to manage an early access title on Steam. So, why is this particularly bad? Well, let's start by looking at the Steam store page. 001 Earth was added to Steam in March 2022, developed and published by CGN DC, and it's a sandbox-style survival adventure sim with retro-styled hand-drawn graphics and a 2D side-scrolling perspective. In the description, it states that the game features some standard mechanics like gathering resources, collecting recipes, crafting tools, buildings, weapons, and more, plus some more unique mechanics such as limb-specific damage and unique entities that spawn in specific biomes. There's also some variable difficulty settings to cater to different player preferences and ability levels, and all in all, it sounds like an interesting take on sandbox survival games with progression elements. It's also worth noting that there is a warning saying that the game requires a controller to play. Keyboard and mouse controls are not compatible. Well, colour me intrigued. That's a first for the series. It's also only $5.69 Canadian, which feels reasonable for the amount of content and depth that it sounds like the game has to offer. Well, it does until you actually load the game. Here it is in all its glory. I'll give you the play-by-play of pretty much my entire thoughts as I started to dive into this game. You know what? It doesn't look that bad. It's thematically appropriate for a retro-styled game. So let's go and check the settings and... Okay, so that's a no. That's kind of strange, even for an early access title. Okay, well, what about the hotkeys? Maybe we can get an idea of the controls. Well, again, it's not pretty, but at least the style of the menus are consistent. And hey, the controls are pretty in-depth. We've got buttons for left and right-handed attacks, and even for the specific location you're aiming for. Sounds like it could make for a pretty complex combat system. I'm not sure how well it would feel to play, but it's definitely intriguing. None of the controls seem to be bound to a key though, so let's see if I can... Nope, that doesn't work either. Okay, well, they're probably just bound to default keys. There will probably be a tutorial that walks through the standard controls and keybinds once I get into the game. Well, let's leave this for now and take a look at the README that I spotted on the main menu. To be fair, I probably should have started there. Let's see. 001 Earth version 0.0.0.4. Thank you for playing 001 Earth. The game is still in its early development stage. If you bought the game and wasn't expecting that the progress of the game is still at this stage, you can issue a refund on Steam. Well, I knew it was an early access title, so I expected something like this, but maybe not this extreme. Let's see. Next update is expected to be in April 2022, which at the time of writing is almost 2 years ago. Oh, and we do have some keybinds in the lower left, so at the very least we know that the player can move and jump, and that there is an inventory and a map. Hang on. Those are controls for a keyboard, but the store description said that it was playable with controllers only. Well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that was an accident, or before they added keyboard support. Let's try connecting my PS4 controller to test it. No, that doesn't work. Guess it was an error then. Well, let's take a look at what's actually implemented in the game. We'll create a new world by setting the campaign, game mode, difficulty, and starting kit. I have to say, I like the amount of customization here. It feels very Minecraft-esque with the variable elements of world generation, just a lot more simple. I'll go with what seems like the basic version for now, and we're in. We're the black stick figure with a wonky walking animation. There's a tent, a pedestal of some kind, and this guy. He's probably going to give us the tutorial and send us on our way, right? So, how do we talk to him? Enter? Spacebar? F? Up arrow? The short answer is you don't. You remember all those keybinds we saw? Yeah, those are all of the controls in the game. Not just some, all of them. This big fellow is non-interactable at the moment. Well, alright, that's fine. I'm sure we can figure some things out. We can at least explore and gather some collectibles. Let's check out inventory first to see if we have any equipment for gathering though. Well, good to see that button works. Nothing here though, just an empty backpack and what appears to be someone else's hands because that skin tone does not match in the slightest. Alright, let's go for a walk and explore then. We'll head off to the right. Wait, that didn't work. Oh, right, we probably need to use the map. Well, thankfully that works and it looks like we're on a 4x4 square island. Let's go to the nearby forest and, hey, chickens! Maybe we can kill these to get some food. What button was attack? Oh. Right, there isn't one. Well, let's check the keybinds just in case and... Oops. Looks like I broke the UI. Maybe it'll fix itself if I travel to another biome and force it to reload. Ah, that didn't work either. Well, I'll travel around a bit more to see the other biomes and then see if any of the other game modes work. They said that the inventory and items were implemented and you can get a starter kit, so maybe I need that in order to interact with anything. So let's quit, then go into world generation, adjust the settings, and... looks like my inventory is still empty. I guess they actually haven't put it in the game yet. Well, congratulations everyone, you've now seen the entire game. .001 Earth is a game that isn't even half-baked. Heck, the flour hasn't been milled yet, and the chicken that will lay the egg for the recipe hasn't even been born yet. In the development world, if we work backwards from a full release, there's a beta test, an alpha test, and sometimes a pre-alpha build, and then there's whatever state this game is in. It feels like the devs created a handful of assets, outlined an idea for the game, made a couple of minor updates, and then called it a day. In my opinion, this game simply shouldn't be on Steam. This isn't what early access is for. It's not meant to be used to allow people to buy the game before it's even in a playable state. It's for people to test at the alpha or beta stage to try out and give feedback on core systems, gameplay loops, mechanics, etc. In the case of .001 Earth, I can gladly tell the devs that the game loads, the character can move, and the UI sometimes doesn't bug out. So what has happened to this game? Well, I decided to hop on over to the Discord, which actually still has a handful of people in it. No idea why. After some digging, I found that the devs' last updates for the game were on the 12th of December 2022, where they apologised for the delay and gave out some free game codes, and then again in November 2023, where they said they'll resume work on the game after completing another project. So what's this other project? Well, the only news on this one is a single announcement, also in November 2023, saying that the game will be released on their website and will be free to play, and a small snippet of code showing the names of some weapons that will be added. Curious, I decided to take a look at the website and... nothing. Each of the tabs has literally nothing in it, other than the home tab, which has the dev's logo. As a last-ditch effort, I reached out to the dev directly on their Discord to see if they would respond. Here's the conversation. Hey, just checking in after stumbling upon .001 Earth. Is the game still being developed or is it dead? Both. I'm still developing the game, but the progress is a bit slow as I now have a full-time job teaching programming/coding to elementary students. I wish I could work more developing the game as fast as possible, but my schedule is a bit cramped, but the slowest part of the game developing is making graphics. Also, I'm working on 3 different games as well. Super Tic-Tac-Toe, inspired by Vsauce, Invoker Game, a character from Dota 2, CGNDC versus CGNDC, what .001 Earth looks like at maxed out level of 2 characters fighting. I apologise for the delay, I just have a lot of projects at hand, but 001 Earth is a game that I will continue on working on for several years. I will try to post an update weekly if possible, but for now, the next update might be on March or April, 2 weeks after my wife gives birth to my firstborn. To which I said, thanks for the update and congratulations, I'm sure you and your wife are super excited about the baby coming soon. I know that there is a warning in the game about refunds, but it might be worth updating the store page as well if you have time, especially to mention that many of the features listed are coming soon and not yet implemented. So far, I haven't had a response back. Well, it sounds like this game is a zombie as it's both dead and not dead, and as much as I appreciate that life gets in the way of projects, especially solo ones, I think that saying that progress is a bit slow is one hell of an understatement. It's not slow, it's glacial. Well, glacial before they started melting, but you know what I mean. Look, in all honesty, my advice is to take the game off the store until it's in a more playable state and you actually have something to offer your players that's even remotely close to the $5.69 Canadian asking price. It would be the honest and decent thing to do. As it currently stands, all you're doing is hurting your own reputation as a game dev. If I were an artist that stumbled upon your game and thought you had some neat ideas, I would be strongly deterred by what feels like an extremely cash grab monetization approach, as it feels extremely bait and switch. At the very, very least, please update your store description to specify that all of the mechanics and features of your game are coming soon and not actually implemented. So, with everything in mind, my final rating for 001 Earth is the dev's website out of 10. It's just as barren as their game and, like their logo, belongs in the trash. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the end of the video. A massive thank you to all the channel members on screen for supporting the channel, especially our two Knights of the Holy Grail, Freaky V-Line and Loveheart Gonzi. These wonderful people are keeping this channel alive, and becoming a member costs as little as $1 per month. Just click the join button to see the available membership levels and perks. Thank you for joining me on this weird gaming adventure through the depths of Steam, and I'll see you next time in... oh boy, a horror game. Well, until then, take care.